which has been found to be lacking in credibility. The governors are also hinting of the possibility of a new minimum wage, which Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun explains will fall under medium and long-term plans. But in the short term, Governor Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State says NEC is backing the release of grains and distribution of fertilizer at various levels. As far as palliatives are concerned, NEC has suggested a 6-month cash award policy for public servants to ease their living and transportation expenses. But in the short term, the council says food items including grains and fertilizers will be distributed by state governments at a subsidized rate or at no cost at all, after it has been disbursed by the Central Bank of Nigeria, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, and the National Emergency Management Agency. From State House, Abuja, Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News.
Let's get some perspectives from an economist and public affairs analyst, Dr. Ibrahim Bello from Waziri Umaru Federal Polytechnic, Birnin Kebbi. Thank you so much for joining us on the News Hour, Doctor. What do you make of this planned palliative distribution by the federal government? I know a lot of people have spoken about it. This is coming at a time where we are talking about 133 million Nigerians in dimensional poverty. And, you know, the presidency has said that the 8,000 naira that was initially to be distributed will be reviewed. And now we are hearing that that register by the former administration should not be used as advocated by the governors.
Many Nigerians, as we are talking about now, are in serious hardship and serious traumas. Because if you look at it, the rate at which people are buying food items and even some of the necessary things for their living is getting somehow very hot in the market. So it is necessary for the federal government to look inward. What is much more important, like the way and manner they remove subsidy, they should look at some of the necessities of life, like maybe food and health, to consider looking at how they can be able to put some, some necessary measures for the citizens to have a safe landing in those areas. Because if you look at it, for instance, in the market where this petroleum and other things have made it very difficult for people to buy goods and services in the market, it is necessary if the federal government should look at the possibility of buying food items or maybe getting it for them to sell it out to them so that at least people can have a safe landing there. And also maybe the issue of health. If at all the federal government should look at the possibility of taking care of some of the aspects of particularly expensive drugs in hospitals, people can also be happy. But as far as we are concerned now, the rate of poverty is just increasing, and the rate of unemployment and even inflation are just getting very worse. So it is very, very important for the federal government to look at the possibility of finding way of instead of paying the money, let them put it into another one of the necessities of life for the people to have to rescue them in that aspect.
All right. Well, now the president has also declared a state of emergency on food and water. How far do you see this going in terms of implementation?
As I'm talking to you now, the measure of rice, it is about 1,500, and the measure of the maize is now about 700 to 800. The measure of millet is about 800 also. So, what I call it, executing or even enforcing the state of emergency on food is one of the very, very important decisions that Mr. President has taken, and it is very, very apt. What we need is not only taking or enforcing the emergency, but it's most important is the execution to the grassroots, because this is where the problem is. At the grassroots level, at the rural level, where it is very difficult to live in Nigeria because many things are very hot. Like this issue of water you are talking about. If you look at it, the water that most of us are consuming in the rural areas are not good. So if Mr. President, this emergency, what I call it, should get down to the grassroots level. I'm sure it will be much more important and very useful than just stating the state of emergency at the high level or at the national level, where so many Nigerians will be left in the devastating level of life living.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Ibrahim Bello, who is an economist and public affairs analyst from Waziri Umaru Federal Polytechnic, Birnin Kebbi. We appreciate that.